Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is March 23rd, and this is episode 12 of the Too Sweet Podcast. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, topics include top 5 reasons why Ultimate Deletion failed to live up to the billing. We're going to talk about Daniel Bryan, his return, updated news on why and how he got to return, and will AJ Styles make the match at WrestleMania? My goodness, I clutch my heart when I say that. And also 3 Too Fast, Too Furious questions of the day. So let's get right on into it. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. You can check out my TeePublic store at tpublic.com/user/OMGCoreyB. You can also check out my YouTube channel. Just type in OMG Corey B in the space bar, and there I am. And also my Twitter handles at OMG Corey B and at the number 2 Sweet Pod. So let's get right on into this. We're gonna start with the Too Fast, Too Furious questions of the day. And first up, we have Rey Mysterio. And if I can get myself together here, we'd have Rey Mysterio. Okay, yes, there we go. So it seems like Rey Mysterio is headed to WWE. We don't know the answer to that yet, but he is scheduled to see WWE doctors, so it appears so. Rey Mysterio will be having his partially torn bicep checked out by WWE doctors, and he could potentially sign a new contract with WWE. It was noted that, once he got hurt, it seemed like that there was off, but it seems like it is back on. We're going to start the clock right here. 1 minute for the Too Fast, Too Furious topics. I'm going to give my thoughts in 1 minute, and I'm out of here. And I'm going to give my thoughts here in 1 minute, and we're going to start the clock right now. This is pretty interesting. Rey Mysterio was in talks with Aero Lucha. I think he has a part ownership with Aero Lucha as well. Impact Wrestling was talks there. I would have loved to have seen him going there. There's a lot of fresh matchups there. But with WWE, it's pretty interesting because there's a lot of first time matchups there as well. I've never seen Rey Mysterio versus those. There's a lot of cruiserweights in that division that they could tear the house down with Rey Mysterio if they treat that division fairly on Raw. Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles. That would be phenomenal. No pun intended. This could be pretty interesting because Rey Mysterio looked really good in that Royal Rumble. He was in about the best shape that Rey Mysterio has been in since his WCW days. So I'm very interested to see how he would fit into today's WWE and what they would do with him and if they would treat him right, and also what kind of schedule he would be on as well. So moving on, we are going to move on to Bray Wyatt. I was noted after the Ultimate Deletion. I'm going to talk about that later, by the way. It was noted that Bray Wyatt could have a character change, and also possibly could he have some possible affiliation with Matt Hardy? Who knows? We'll see. But it was noted that he could have a character change. I'm going to give my thoughts on that right now. Look, Bray Wyatt doesn't need a character change in my opinion. I mean, he could bring the fedora back. I mean, that's just a personal thing. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But I don't think he needs a character change. I think what he needs is to be taken seriously by the company. And I mean, that's pretty interesting. You just book the guy better, because this is, at one point I once said that this guy was the next Undertaker, and that's like the highest compliment because Undertaker is like my second favorite of all time. And I seen it with Bray Wyatt, but they just didn't take it serious. They just didn't take him seriously. They cut off his momentum at every given turn. With John Cena, when he won the title, they stripped that title away from him and he had a pathetic feud with Randy Orton. I mean, look, you just need to take the guy seriously. He doesn't need a character change. He doesn't need to change, or he doesn't need to become broken or anything like that. He just needs to be taken seriously. That's just my opinion, and that things would be better off if he were taken seriously. All right, so moving on, a minute is up. What are we moving on to next? We are moving on to Hulk Hogan. interesting news coming out that the Hulkster could be possibly returning. According to PW Insider, WWE officials are currently having talks about a Hogan return. There's no word yet on what kind of role Hogan may come back for, but there's speculation that an authority role for SmackDown would do, with Shane McMahon having that so-called indefinite leave of absence. WWE responded to PW Insider by saying, "We have had discussions with Terry about how he can help others learn from his mistakes. However, he is not under any contract with WWE currently." So we'll see about that. I'm going to give my opinions on all of that right now. I'll start the clock right now. Look, I understand it. I get it. Hulk Hogan is the ultimate face of WWE, the top guy of all time in that company. But it just kind of, it really rubbed me the wrong way. That video with Hulk Hogan and all of that drama just really rubbed me the wrong way personally, as a person, to see what Hulk Hogan did. And to be honest, from a fan standpoint, I really don't have a desire to see Hulk Hogan back in a WWE ring. That's nothing against the guy. But even with looking past that situation, which is tough to look past for me, I mean, what are you going to bring Hulk Hogan back in? I mean, what is he going to do? He can't be an ambassador role. You can't do that. Even as a SmackDown general manager, I really have no interest in that, because we need to just do away with the authority figures. I mean, I really don't want to see that. I wish him well. Maybe there's something there for Hulk Hogan. We'll see. But I'm not really interested in it personally. So those were the Too Fast, Too Furious questions of the day. And now we're going to move on to our main topics. And we're going to start with the ultimate deletion. Yes. I hope y'all like my Matt Hardy. So, top 5 reasons why the ultimate deletion failed to live up to the billing. Now, I don't want to be ultra negative, because I mean, when I look at this thing, I criticize wrestling enough. It's just what I do. When I come up to talk about wrestling, I give the truth, and sometimes it can be looked as me criticizing wrestling like being negative. So I don't want to be negative, but this is just my personal opinion. Nobody else, is just mine. But I thought it didn't live up to the billing, and I'm about to get into the reasons. Number 5 is because, as it pertains from the ultimate deletion to final deletion, I don't think it lived up, because number 5 is that Matt and Jeff Hardy had much better chemistry from an in-ring standpoint than Matt and Bray Wyatt. And I mean, obviously Bray Wyatt can't do the things that Jeff Hardy does, but the match was actually good. If you actually go back and look at final deletion, the actual match, it was pretty darn decent. Before it even got into the crazy stuff with Jeff Hardy taking Daredevil stunts, and I mean, they had good chemistry and the match was solid. So looking at the ultimate deletion match, whatever was going on with Bray Wyatt, and there was some positives to it, but whatever was going on with Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, it's just the match itself was just boring me to death. But moving on to number 4, WWE didn't prepare the audience enough to deal with this match. Like, even going back to the final deletion, what's the untold story about final deletion is the match prior to final deletion. Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy had a match at the Hardy compound. I think it was in the Dome of Deletion, but I think that was before it was called a Dome of Deletion. But they had a match, and it was Final Deletion-esque, but it wasn't anywhere near the craziness of Final Deletion. So when I saw that match, I was like, well, that was kind of out of left field, but it was okay. And what that match did was it got us mentally prepared for the craziness of Final Deletion. Once Final Deletion happened, as far as it pertained to the people that were watching TNA every week, we all thought it was a success. We all thought it was crazy, but everybody thought it was a success. Where the debate came was with people who had not been watching the storyline, the months of storyline leading into Final Deletion. They thought that, this was just a crazy match. Obviously, if this is your first time looking at it, then sure, Final Deletion, you think Final Deletion was a crazy match. And turning this back to Ultimate Deletion, they didn't prepare their audience enough because not everybody saw Final Deletion. So there's a lot of people out there in the mainstream WWE audience that has no idea of what's going on. They do not know who a Brother Nero is. They have no idea, no clue. They don't know who Senior Benjamin is, Rebby Hardy. Like, they should have introduced all of these characters weeks on end, so WWE's audience would have been prepared for it. And they also should have had one of those matches beforehand to prepare the WWE audience of what was about to come. All right, number 3, top 5 reasons why Ultimate Deletion failed to live up to the billing, in my opinion. Number 3 is that it was nearly a complete ripoff of Final Deletion. You had Bray Wyatt coming down the entrance to music. If I'm not mistaken, Jeff Hardy came down to the entrance to music. And just the whole match, the fireworks, everything. They introduced some new things, a couple of new things, but it's like the dilapidated boat. Come up with some new things, and I'm watching it and I'm like not impressed because I'm like, well, this is just Final Deletion. And the glory to Final Deletion is that the dilapidated boat and things like that weren't a thing until we made it a thing. It was just a throwaway line in the Final Deletion where Matt Hardy says, "Look, a dilapidated boat." And so everybody thought it was hilarious, and then it became a thing, the dilapidated boat. And then a whole bunch of other things became a thing. With WWE, they just put it on television and thought that, okay, this is a thing, without even introducing it to us. They did a bad job of introducing a lot of things. And I didn't like the fact that it was pretty much a ripoff of Final Deletion. And also that the finish was laissez-faire. I'm going to get into that later too. But number 2, there was no emotion in the storyline. And it was rushed along. Look, in Final Deletion, I hate to keep going back to this, but it is the only, in that match, that is the only point of reference that I have when it pertains to matches like this. There was a lot of emotion in that storyline. It was built up really well. And it was with Matt and Jeff, and Matt was just ticked off, and he said, "This is the Final Deletion of Jeff Hardy." We're going into that match, we like, well, what the heck is that? Well, and Matt was like, he's gonna delete Jeff. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, what does that mean? And it was months of storyline built up. It was months of that Matt Hardy character, and it was months leading into that Final Deletion match. With WWE, they introduced the Matt Hardy character and they introduced the Final Deletion match, and they didn't have a build up to the Final Deletion match. It was like a couple of weeks, then here it is. So I never got emotionally invested into the match because I never had the time to get emotionally invested into the match. It's like they rushed it along. So I wish they would have put more effort into building up Matt Hardy's character, because the Woken Hardy gimmick was going in the toilet prior to this, because they wasn't doing anything with it. They was doing the same old things with Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. Once a storyline that was looked at as a near dream match storyline was just being rushed along with 50-50 results nearly every week. So when you look at it like that, leading into this match, it was very hard for me to get excited for it. But moving on to number 1 of why top 5 reasons why the Ultimate Deletion failed up to live up to the billing. Number 1 was that it wasn't crazy enough. Like, they didn't go completely over the top. And I'm going to go back to Final Deletion again. Look, when Final Deletion happened, when Jeff Hardy, or I think it was either Matt or Jeff Hardy, put out those fireworks and they started shooting it at each other, I said, well, what in the world is going on here? We had Jeff Hardy jumping off of a tree branch, a tall tree branch. Only Jeff Hardy, by the way, not for nothing, but only Jeff Hardy jumped off a tree branch onto a ladder. And I mean, we just had so many crazy things. We had Jeff Hardy jumping off of that cross. That was I don't think it was a cross. It was some type of thing that he jumped off of and missed the Swanton Bomb that was set on fire. By the way, if you go back and look at the Final Deletion. But the match wasn't crazy enough. It just didn't get wild enough as far as it pertains to the Ultimate Deletion. It had its moments. You know, you had Senior Benjamin there that threw the globe into Bray Wyatt's hands. That was pretty funny. That was pretty crazy. But it just did not live up to the craziness that was Final Deletion. So those are my top 5 reasons why I thought that the Ultimate Deletion didn't live up to the billing. And also, I'm worried about where Matt Hardy goes from here. Obviously, when the Final Deletion happened, Impact Wrestling just pushed Matt Hardy and just made it an important thing, an important force within the company. And I'm worried about WWE as it pertains to Matt Hardy, because is Matt Hardy going to get pushed like an important person or in an important storyline as it pertains to WWE? I have my questions on that, and I don't think it will happen. But I'm hoping for the best for Matt Hardy. He does his best with this gimmick. He's crazy. He does his best, and I'm really hoping for the best for him. So moving on. Oof, I could really use a drink of water here. I say that every week. I just need to have a bottle of water with me, really, every week. But moving on, we're going to go to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was cleared this week. And obviously, you can see my reaction on YouTube. I made a video for that very day, excuse me, when he got cleared. But looking at the further news that has come out, Daniel Bryan was cleared, and Daniel Bryan was, as was noted on the Wrestling Observer, Daniel Bryan was sent to several neurologists chosen by Dr. Joseph Maroon. Daniel Bryan asked him, what did he have to do to get cleared? And Dr. Joseph Maroon said that he had to go to he noted the top neurologists throughout the country, and he sent it to him over the past 2 months, to which Daniel Bryan, of course, got cleared by every single doctor. Looking at the script for SmackDown, Daniel Bryan, it's looking like Daniel Bryan is going to team. Obviously, it's looking like he's going to team with Shane McMahon. But there were backup plans with Daniel Bryan. If he didn't get cleared, there were backup plans with Shane McMahon having another partner, or Daniel Bryan being the special guest referee. It was also noted in the Observer that after every match, Daniel Bryan will have to go to WWE doctors backstage after every match and get impact testing and neuropsychological, I hope I said that right, evaluation done until WWE is comfortable, until he's okay. Until WWE is comfortable that he's okay. So this is, look, I want to believe everything is on the up and up, in that WWE is just, there's no cynicism here, that WWE is just doing this because they really in their hearts feel that he's cleared, and that's the only reason why they're doing this. But the cynic wrestling fan in me just tends to come out a lot. And when I look at this story, I look at the part where Daniel Bryan asked Joseph Maroon what he had to do to get cleared, and that Joseph Maroon sent him to the best neurological doctors. I mean, look, Daniel Bryan has been trying to get cleared for a long time now. So you mean to tell me that just in the past month or a couple of months or however many, a couple of months or whenever, Joseph Maroon is just now telling, or WWE is just now having him tell Daniel Bryan what the best neurological doctors is? I mean, look, Daniel Bryan's contract is coming up. And for lack of a better term, Daniel Bryan was out of there. Just in my opinion, I really believe that Daniel Bryan was out of there. I said this on YouTube, that Daniel Bryan was bent on wrestling. He wanted to wrestle again, and he was going to wrestle somewhere. And that somewhere was going to get a big push out of having Daniel Bryan wrestle for them. So it is my opinion that WWE is doing whatever they have to do to keep him in the fold. Now the pressure has reversed on WWE to let him wrestle now that his contract is coming up. So I really believe that, of course, the WWE knew, of course, the doctor knew the best neurological doctors years ago, or a year ago, whenever it was that Daniel Bryan retired. They didn't send Daniel Bryan to those doctors then, but they're sending them to him now. And I look at the situation, and like I said, obviously I think WWE is keeping Daniel Bryan into the fold because, look, not only is Daniel Bryan a moneymaker, he's in my humble opinion, he's the face of the company. That's just my humble opinion, because the fans adore the guy. Fans across the world adore the guy. And WWE knows that, and they want to keep him in the fold not only for their sake, but to also hold other competing wrestling companies down as well from getting Daniel Bryan. But I'm happy that Daniel Bryan has returned. I don't want to turn this into a negative take, but I'm happy that he's returned. I'm very happy that he's back. Also, looking at the WrestleMania match, I don't mean to be greedy, but look, I don't want the tag match. I mean, I'm going to be excited for that. I'm taking it for what it is, and you know what? It's fine that it's going to be a tag match. But look, if I can make a comparison, it's like getting ready to book a trip anywhere in the United States. I don't know. You choose a state. I don't know, Florida, Texas, wherever, anywhere in the United States, and hitting the Powerball right before you take that trip, or right before you get ready to book that trip. If you hit the Powerball, you come up on millions, the first thing you're going to say is, well, man, let's go to Hawaii. Let's go this place instead of going to somewhere in the United States. That's how I feel about Daniel Bryan. 3 weeks before WrestleMania, we just hit the Powerball. Now, obviously, WWE knew about this well in advance, but 3 weeks as fans, we just hit the Powerball with Daniel Bryan. And I'm like, well, man, let's put him in a better match. Let's do a triple threat with Bryan, Owens, and Zayn. That would tear the house down. Or let's put him in a bigger match. Like, I want to see something more. It's not that I don't mind a tag match. It's just not something that I will be looking forward to. I would like to see something more out of this situation. But all in all, I'm happy that Daniel Bryan is returning. So moving on, we have the phenomenal AJ Styles. And look, man, this is starting to worry me. We had the angle at a house show to where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn took out AJ Styles. And it was an injury angle. You know, they took him out. And apparently AJ Styles missed the house show the following day or the following couple of days, something like that, wherever they was going. So it was looked at as selling the injury in an injury angle. So I saw that and I was like, well, okay, it's just an injury angle. Okay, he'll be back. Everything's cool. So yesterday, I see a report that Triple H gave his thoughts on the situation. He said, "You always have to have a plan B." I'm laughing because plan B, it sounds like the Seth Rollins heel turn segment. Let me stay on track here. You always have to have a plan B just in case you have a plan C, Triple And just in case you have a plan C, Triple H said, AJ is an incredible performer. Replacing AJ Styles would be very difficult. He's not necessarily a replaceable talent, but we would do our best. AJ is working diligently on rehabbing his injuries and getting himself in top tier shape for WrestleMania. We're trying to get him the best care possible. We're hoping for the best. That's where my heart sinks. Now look, they're trying to get him to the best doctors as well. Now look, do y'all know the GIF or GIF? I don't know of what cartoon it is, but it's a cartoon character sitting at a table and like he's in the kitchen and like there's a blazing inferno and he's just sitting there with a cup, and I think the GIF reads, "Everything is fine here." And that's me right now. I'm sitting here, it's a blazing inferno, and I'm just saying, "Oh no, nothing to see here. Everything's fine." And look, I just asked for one thing. One thing for WrestleMania. And I've gone back on my word ever since then. Maybe I need to take that back now. And some months ago, in 2017, I just said, just give me one thing. AJ Styles versus Nakamura. And I promise that, baby, I won't complain about any of the rest of the card if you just give me that. So we get it. Nakamura wins the Royal Rumble and AJ Styles. So we get that moment, that challenge. And I'm like, yes, I got it. That's all I wanted. It's like Christmas. You gave me that one gift. I don't care whatever it is else that I get. And now this happens. Like, the match may still go on, but why AJ Styles? Oh, why did it have to be AJ Styles to get hurt? Look, I'm very worried about this match. I still think it will go on because AJ Styles said that if he has to go out there with one leg, he's going to go out. He said if my leg got cut off, I'll find a way to make it to WrestleMania. So I believe that AJ Styles is through everything. He's going to try to get out there and go for WrestleMania because a compromised AJ Styles is better than half the roster, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that it happens. I'm just worried that it won't. I'm just proceeding with caution. I hope that everything goes down as planned. So that is my thoughts on that. That is all for this podcast. Those are the topics. Let me know if you have any opinions, any questions, any thoughts. Let me know down below about the podcast. I will be sure to answer them, whether you want to leave them on YouTube or anywhere else. You can drop them down below. Podomatic, you can drop the comments on Podomatic, or you can hit me up on Twitter on my ads at 2SweetPod and at OMG Corey B. Let me know if you have any topics, anything you would like to discuss.